Hey everyone, welcome to another daily cinephile vlog, and as you can see I am drinking my coffee and hanging out in the garage right now. Just doing some quick organizing while I'm in here, actually putting away some Christmas decorations, which, so as far as the garage goes, that's probably where we have like most of our stuff, but most of our stuff consists of different holiday decorations. We are very big into decorating for the holidays, and like all of them, we have some stuff in there that's like for even St. Patrick's Day and Independence Day, but most of it's Christmas, so we're putting some of that stuff away. Yeah, for the house, the size of the house, for what it is, we fill it to the brim with Christmas stuff. So whenever in the future, someday far off in the future, the hope is we get a bigger house, and I'm sure that just means more Christmas stuff. But that's us. We have a high volume of two things: Blu-rays and Christmas decorations. Just thought I would talk real quick about the Critics' Choice Awards. I realized I didn't get a chance to talk about them. I did do a video on the Golden Globes, which, you know, is not a ceremony or an award show that people give too much credit to anymore, but I still think it's a pretty good way to sort of figure out some Oscar predictions. Some people like to use the Critics' Choice Awards as a better metric, which I get. Like, looking at the Critics' Choice Awards, especially with like the acting categories, most of the time they get it pretty spot on. They'll get like one of the four will be a toss-up every other year, just from looking back. I did like a analysis of like the last 20 years of Oscars. Last year, for doing my predictions, I looked at the last 10 years to get an idea of what might win Best Picture. But this time I looked at the last 20 years of Oscar wins, but I compared it to previous Critics' Choice Awards as well. It's there's not really a science to it all, because there's not really an easy way to predict what people are going to vote for. You know, I don't know who the voting bodies are. They've changed so much in the last 20 years as well. But last year when I did I did like a look back at the last 10 years of Oscar shows, I was able to correctly predict the two screenplay categories and the Best Picture winner, which a lot of people didn't guess the Best Picture winner. Some did, but that was one that a lot of people were going half and half on, and I happened to be on the half. You know, some people were thinking it'd be The Power of the Dog. Some people thought it'd be Coda. I correctly guessed Coda using my wild method. And even this year, for what I'm using as a prediction, I'm not even 100% going with that method from last year. I'm actually trying to fit in a possible margin of error to guess what might actually win Best Picture. It's a mess. But it's the only way that I know how to do it. But yeah, let's go to the Critics' Choice Awards, which is a good comparison to the Oscars and what might win. So as far as the screenplay awards go, adapted screenplay went to Women Talking, which, if you look at the adapted screenplay category this year, not a whole lot of movies are coming from that category that might win Best Picture. I mean, I wouldn't say a lot of the front runners are coming from the adapted screenplay category. In the last 10 years, every winner for the adapted screenplay and the original screenplay have been nominated for Best Picture. So that's a given. But if you look at the whole adapted screenplay frontrunners, a majority of them are not frontrunners for the Best Picture win. And I mean, a lot of them aren't even going to get nominated, more than likely. The only one is probably going to be Women Talking, which in a lot of ways has been getting ignored during this award season. But I do see it getting that Oscar nomination just because it's pretty obvious that it will get nominated for adapted screenplay and will probably win. The only thing I could think that would, in addition, get nominated would be All Quiet on the Western Front, which would also get an International Picture nomination, but will it get a Best Picture nomination? I don't know yet, but that's one to watch out for. But the winner of the original screenplay category did end up going to Everything Everywhere All at Once, and the Best Picture went to Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. They also won Best Director. So with those three wins, I mean, does that make it the front runner for Best Picture? In a way, it does, but, you know, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I want it to win. I mean, that's my favorite movie this year, but is it a little too weird for some of the older Academy members? Technically, right now, my Best Picture frontrunner would be The Banshees, just because that movie seems to have a lot of appeal for every demographic of the voting body. It works for older people. It works for younger voters. I really see that movie probably winning Best Picture. It also just seems more like a Best Picture winner. But, usually what happens too is like the movie we don't really want to win Best Picture wins it. Parasite did a few years ago, but most of the time we have an idea of like, oh, this should win Best Picture. Everybody agrees, and then something else wins. And, for me, I'm like, I don't know, because technically, I think Banshees will win. Everything Everywhere All at Once would technically be the one right under it. And then you got The Fabelmans. Just because The Fabelmans have been getting a lot of nominations all over the place, and if they're getting beat out, it's either by The Banshees or by Everything Everywhere All at Once. Plus, it's a Spielberg movie, which, he's been getting a lot of nominations past few years, and given that this one's actually about his life, people might, entertain the idea of giving him an award for it. And also, just because, it's a sort of about the movie making industry in a way. So I don't know. It's like, to me, those are the three possibilities for Best Picture. I don't see anything else winning. But Everything Everywhere All at Once, winning those three categories, does that mean that they're going to win Best Picture? Well, original screenplay, I think what's going to happen is I think it's going to be a mix of these options. I think Best Director is going to go to the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once at the Oscars. I think Best Original Screenplay is going to go with the Banshees, and then I do think they're going to win Best Picture as well. So I might be wrong about that, and this kind of goes against my method of figuring out last year who was going to win, but it doesn't help that the adapted screenplay, because usually I can figure out the top two frontrunners for the Oscars just by looking at who's going to win adapted screenplay and original screenplay, but we don't have that option this year. Most of the frontrunners are in the original screenplay category, and just because someone wins doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win Best Picture. But I do think in this case, it will go to the same movie, and Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to get director. But let's go into the acting category, which I don't suspect is going to change a lot once we get to the Oscars. Ke Huy Quan has pretty much won every single award he's been nominated for. Best Actress, I think that one's a lock as well. I think it's going to be Cate Blanchett. To me, that is the best performance this year. And I would love to see Michelle Yeoh win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And she's probably the second favored to win that award. But to me, I'm like, Cate Blanchett gave like the performance of a lifetime. So I think she is going to win that award just based on some other award shows. And she won the Critics' Choice Award. Brendan Fraser also won the Critics' Choice Award. I still think he's probably the favorite, but I could see Colin Farrell swinging in there last second. I do think there's a lot of love and support for Brendan Fraser, though, within the industry right now. Even if you just watch the interviews that he's done, he did the Actors Roundtable, and all the actors are just giving him all the love for that movie. And, the actors are going to be the ones voting on this. So, I do kind of think, like, he's got all the support. He probably will win it. He's lost a few times at other shows, but I do think at the Oscars he'll get it. If he doesn't get it, I think it would be Colin Farrell. I guess I could see Austin Butler possibly winning it, but those are the top three. But I really think it's going to go to Brendan Fraser. I don't think there'll be a surprise there. The only category I see that there maybe could be a surprise would be Best Supporting Actress, because while, yes, Angela Bassett won the Critics' Choice Award, she hasn't won that Best Supporting Actress award at all the other shows. It's been a weird toss-up between one of the actresses from Women Talking, I can't remember which one it was, but there's also the two other actresses who are in Everything Everywhere All at Once, including Jamie Lee Curtis, who she has a lot of love and support. She might actually end up winning that award. But, I guess I could see that one. I could see that one being a surprise. For right now, I would put my money on Angela Bassett, but I could see of the four categories, that might be the one that's different. Because with the four acting categories, just in my past anyway, I feel like I at least always get one of them wrong, and I feel like that might be the one I get wrong. And I don't see, because Brendan Fraser possibly, but I just think he's got all the love at the Oscars. I just don't see them not giving it to him. But, you know, it's been known to happen. I mean, Sylvester Stallone was supposed to win Best Supporting Actor for Creed. That didn't happen. Chadwick Boseman was supposed to win Best Actor. That didn't happen. So, I mean, sometimes the stuff that feels like, oh, it is going to happen, doesn't always happen. And then just to talk about animated feature, it's cool that Pinocchio won. It also won the Golden Globe. So, I mean, I really hope it wins Best Picture. I don't think this will be the year where, despite a really good animated feature coming from a different studio, that they ultimately give it to something from Disney. You know, like, that's happened before. You know, Brave won that one year and everybody was like, are you serious? But this year, I mean, Turning Red is going to get nominated, but I think there's going to be more energy behind Pinocchio, especially since Guillermo del Toro directed it. I think that's going to snag it, which I think is great because it is a great movie. It's in my top 10 this year. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the Critics' Choice Awards, and I'll see you next time.